continue following breaking news from the Keys.
Cuban migrants in a standoff on a lighthouse near Key West. Lori's in the newsroom with the latest on this.
And Janine and Victor, there is some definite movement in this standoff. We're talking about roughly 20 Cuban migrants who early this morning climbed to the top of the American Shoal lighthouse just a few miles off, just a couple of miles off the coast of the Keys. They've been up there most of the day. The Coast Guard has been trying to get them to come down from this condemned, unsafe structure. If we can take you to pictures, you will see that the Coast Guard has their tugboats out there now. They've actually made a perimeter of about 1,000 feet. They don't want any other boats coming in or out, bringing any supplies to the Cuban migrants, but most of them have come down. This is a map of where this is all happening. You see the American Shoal lighthouse there. It is about 8 miles out into the water away from Sugarloaf Key. So those Cuban migrants were so close. But according to the Coast Guard, when it comes to the wet foot, dry foot policy, the lighthouse is considered wet foot. It's the same as if they were found in the water. They have not made it to U.S. shores, and they will be repatriated. But it has been quite a standoff because the Cuban migrants have not wanted to come down. There's also a large area inside where they were staying. At this point, many of them have come down. We are not sure if there are any women in this group as well, but there are about 20 of them. So the Coast Guard seems to be making progress right now, getting those migrants to come onto their tugboats and be taken to the scene. Here are some of the first images we're getting from our chopper, and we'll just stay with this a moment so that we can try to bring this to you. Victor, I know you've been following this one closely for us throughout the day as well. The location is a bit tricky.
Right, yeah, and this is not the location itself. I mean, this lighthouse, it is 109 feet tall. That is very high up there. These 20 migrants climbed, some of them all the way to the top, and that's actually part of the problem, was just communicating with them. Again, you mentioned it's a condemned structure. This American Shoal lighthouse, it was built in 1880, and there we have the pictures of Coast Guard crews there working with some of these migrants to make sure they can get them all down safely.
And so initially, and explain this, so 2 were in custody, but there were 20 who still were for some time refusing to come down.
Right, there were 22 to start with when somebody spotted them on a makeshift vessel that was heading towards this lighthouse. That person, whoever spotted them, called the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard is able to get 2 of them in custody, but the other 20 were able to make it there to what we're looking at right now, this American Shoal lighthouse. And the last update that we got from the Coast Guard says that all 20 are now off the lighthouse.
And talking about safety, Lori, I know that you had mentioned this as well. The Coast Guard said, I mean, not only is this not safe for them, it is not safe for even for boaters in the water to get within 100 yards of this American Shoals lighthouse that's offshore, off Sugarloaf Key. So they really thought that safety was the biggest concern. They wanted to get these guys off and be able to put them safely onto their boats.
And that's why they did set up that very distant perimeter. It appears they have had full success now. There is our image again. These are coming to us from just moments ago from Sky 10. You see the Coast Guard there working with the last couple of Cuban migrants, putting life vests on them so they are safe and getting them down onto this final tug. But we are told all 20 are now safely in the custody of the Coast Guard. If we learn any more on this breaking story, we'll get it right to you. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more of Local 10 News.